Hi, this is Hear the Raw podcast. I am Paul Schneider. So as always, you can follow Hear the Raw on Instagram on here.the.raw, where there's various posts about various things to do with the world of cancer and my own journey as well. And you can always follow us on TikTok on here_the_raw. And on all major podcast platforms on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, the list goes on. We are on almost all major podcast platforms. Now, today is the first interview I'm doing with somebody that has been diagnosed with a breast cancer. And I have Debbie Donaldson with me today. Hi, Debbie.
Hello there. Hi, Paul.
Hi. So I've got to know Debbie quite well over the last few months. She was an introduction made to me by the guys at Radiotherapy UK. So thank you, Alison, for that introduction. Debbie's been a godsend to me personally. It's going to make me emotional if I carry on saying things like this. But Debbie has been
Henry.
amazing for me. Yeah. Debbie is, I would say, my mentor for my current situation, which is secondary metastatic head and neck cancer. But Debbie is on the same treatment journey pretty much as myself, and is about 14 to 16 months ahead of me on her journey. Now, Debbie has been diagnosed with secondary breast cancer. We'll come on to that. But to start with, Debbie, if you could, as I always say to everybody, that's on the podcast for an interview, tell us who Debbie Donaldson is, please. You know, who you are, what are you about? You know, some bit personal, bit of work stuff, whatever you want to do, really.
Yeah, okay. And do stop me if I ramble on, but I suppose I've kind of changed since I got secondary breast cancer a couple of years ago now. But before then, I was a horse riding, cycling, very active person who lived for those two pursuits, did them a lot. I've got a son who's now 35, but he got leukemia when he was 3 years old. So it's not my first rodeo in terms of cancer. So he got leukemia at the age of 3 and then relapsed when he was 8 years old.
Wow.
And we kind of thought it was curtains for him. And we had some pretty near misses, but he's now 35. So, fingers crossed he continues to thrive. So I'm not new to the cancer world, and it probably explains why I am who I am now in many ways. So apart from that, I've worked pretty much all my life, even dealing with a child with cancer. I did freelance work, so I'm quite an active, busy person. Since getting my diagnosis, I have had to give up horse riding and
Yeah.
cycling, which was a massive thing for me. But I think I've got there in terms of coming to terms with it and filled it with other things. I'm going to be active in other spheres. So, there's always something around the corner. And I think, generally speaking, I'm quite a positive person. I've certainly had my moments in the last couple of years, but I'm generally very positive. I've had many sadnesses, particularly with my son, and I don't think anything can beat that in terms of how hard it was. So I suppose it's made me stronger for this element of my life. And that's me, really. I don't think there's
Okay.
much else to say. I have a partner who's extremely supportive, with
Yeah.
whom I did all those pursuits of horse riding and cycling, and we don't do those together anymore, which is sad. But we're finding our way.
Good for you, and great to have you on. So, on the horse front, I've got how many horses did you have, just out of interest?
We've still got three because they are part of our lives. We're not people who go on holiday. In fact,
Right.
Roger and I have never, we've only been away for 3 days together since we met back in 2007,
Wow.
because horses were our vacation, if you like. So we got three horses who live at home with us. So they're still here and they're still very, very dear to us. And, you know, they keep me, they're pretty good.
Yeah, you keen horse rider. So my daughter's a really keen horse
Oh, is
rider.
she?
Her mum's a keen horse rider. They have three horses between them,
All
and
right.
then and they're continually looking for more. I
Oh,
just
are they?
that's why I asked how many you've got. People that ride horses, they don't just like to have one horse, do they?
Well, my partner has one, and I've got an old boy who's 22, who I adore. He's never going
Yeah.
anywhere. And I got myself thinking that I would continue riding. I got myself a sort of steady horse from a riding stables. He's actually not a plod, and I don't rule out riding him again because he's a good boy. He doesn't do anything untoward, but my heart's not in it because I can't do what I used to do, which is dress up,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I can't go out to clinic. I could go out. It's just I don't trust my bones not to break
Right.
catastrophically. So
Right.
that's
So
why I
that's the main reason why you're not riding anymore, is it?
yeah.
Right.
My
And it's
oncologist kept rolling his eyes every time I said I did horses.
and is that due to the treatment then? Is that as a result of the treatment that's making your bones weaker,
um,
or
with metastatic breast cancer, it often goes to the bones. Mine has. I don't have a primary cancer, by the way. I've never had primary
yes?
breast cancer. They've never discovered it in where you should find it in your breasts. It just went straight to my liver and to my spine. And I think it's just in my spine. It's probably in my ribs a bit. It's probably pretty much, cancer. That's what it does. It has a little journey, and it makes your bones weaker. And I think I got to the point where I thought if I broke my bones, that would start to make me feel really depressed. So maybe it's time to move on from actually riding horses. I can
Yeah.
still do stuff
Yeah.
with them, and I do, but again, my heart's not in it as much because I don't really want to compete anymore. And my partner puts it, he says, well, you've made the decision. It's not made the decision for you. And
Yes.
I half agree with him that I've made the decision and half not.
Yeah, I understand that. So you made an amazing statement there. It's one of the first things you said to me, which if I'm honest, I've still found it hard to get my head around, Devi, which is you've got secondary metastatic breast cancer, having never had primary. Now, I've actually spent some time trying to think about this, or not even trying to actually think about it. Thinking, does that mean that you had breast cancer that was never found, and then when it spread, it all became one cancer? It's in your breast now, and it's now in other places. Can you explain to me a little bit more about how that does
Yeah,
or doesn't
well,
work?
I have asked this question myself because obviously it does your head in. I had a clear mammogram 6 months before I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I wasn't diagnosed straight away with breast cancer because they couldn't find it in my breast. I asked my oncologist, I said, look, I haven't got it there. Does that mean it was never there and it's just a kind of cancer that looks like breast cancer? And it is, are you sure it's breast cancer? Because, of course, you ask, is it the right cancer? And he said, yeah, it is breast cancer and you will have had it in your breast, but your body dealt with it in your breasts, but then it went out through the back door and decided to infiltrate your body. The next question I've asked is, so if I've had it in my breast, will I get it back there? And he said, yeah, in fact, I only asked that recently. He said, in about 30% of cases, yes. I think I fall into, it's called occult breast cancer. So I am quite unusual, and there are other people like me. And we fall into, I don't know what the percentage is, I think it's less than 1% of cases are like me. So when people talk about prevention, and God, I'm all for prevention and early detection because obviously it's the right thing to do. It sort of rankles with me a bit because I never got that chance. I never got that chance to find a primary cancer and do something about it. That said, with metastatic breast cancer and with breast cancer, because we're coming up to Pink Fluffy Month, and I'm sorry if I upset anybody by saying that, is that 30 to 40% of all breast cancers will become metastatic. And my hobby horse is that more research needs to go into metastatic breast cancer because I think I was led to believe a long time ago, because as a woman, I've obviously looked at breast cancer. I was led to believe that breast cancer was really curable. Well,
Yeah.
60 to 70% cure rate doesn't seem great to me. I come from the world of leukemia where my son was given those odds 30 years ago. Now the odds are 90% with leukemia,
90% of what? Sorry.
at 90% cure
Of leukemia?
with childhood leukemia, acute lymphoblastic
Right.
leukemia, which he had. And I think
Right.
And I know breast cancer rates have improved over the years as well, but we're still 60 to 70% won't have it again or won't have secondary, but 30 to 40 will. That's still seems quite high when it's a
Yes,
prevalent cancer. And I'm sure you've got your stats with your cancer too.
I have.
I've got to be angry about something, and that's one of the things I'm a bit cross about.
Yeah, let me just explain. So I didn't even know this myself when I found out that my cancer had gone metastatic. I just metastatic sounds like a fantastic word.
It's a lovely
You
word,
know,
isn't it?
yeah. And when I looked it up, it's basically it means spread. It means it's for anybody that doesn't know, it really means that the bird is out the cage. So when you've got a primary cancer, it's in one location. Look at it as a bird in a cage. The door is shut. It gets the bird in that cage gets got rid of, if you like, and that's it. Secondary or metastatic is the door is open. It can go where it likes. It can fly around
Yeah,
the house and go wherever it wants.
yeah.
Just to be clear, so I didn't even know that myself. Even after I'd been told I had metastatic cancer, I didn't even know what it
You didn't
meant
know.
until
Well, you
I
don't, do
took
you? You don't
no.
know. You've never come across it before, so why would you? Yeah.
No, so tell me, in fact, so tell me when all this was, Debbie, and also, I think the one of the most interesting parts of the conversation with anybody who's had a diagnosis with cancer diagnosis is the journey to the diagnosis. What got you there? Was there something else that prompted you to go to the doctor?
Um,
Was
yeah,
there?
I we'd moved house, which was stressful, and we were just I started to get a pain every time I bent over. Uh,
Mhm.
about October of 2022. So every time I bent over, I got a pain by my liver.
Right.
And I thought, well, just stop bending over, Debbie. That's probably the right answer
Yeah.
to that. So I stopped bending over a bit, but that pain increased.
Right.
So even when I wasn't bending over, it was there. So I got to the GP, went to see a nurse at the GP practice. She felt where it was. She said, "Oh, it's gallstones. We'll get you a blood test, and we'll do an ultrasound." Well,
Mhm.
I couldn't get the blood test for another month. Um,
Right.
the ultrasound was going to be another month. So before that happened, before I got any of those things, I ended up in abject pain in my liver area, and it radiated to my back. So I rang 911. This
Yeah.
was after sort of a couple of weeks of visiting the nurse at the GP practice. Went to A&E one time. I was also hyperventilating because I was quite worried. So I think I had
Yes.
a panic attack at the same time. I've never had panic attacks in my life before. I know what they are now.
Yes.
Arrived at A&E, they give me an ECG because they're always really concerned about your heart when you present at A&E, especially if you're having a panic attack. So I had all of
Yes.
that.
Yes.
5 hours later, the doctor said, "I just think it's muscular." And I said, "Well, I actually don't think it is muscular. I know what muscle pain is, and I'm a very active person. I don't think it is, but okay. You want to believe it, don't you? You so want
Mm.
to believe it, and you so want to believe that it's gallstones because gallstones, it's not a difficult thing." Anyway,
Yeah.
got sent home. Was still worried, but not. I was appeased a bit, and then a week later, I went shopping. I was in Tesco's coming home from a trip with work. I leaned over and my back went into a massive spasm. And
Wow.
I was crying and shaking. And I don't cry and shake easily. I've fallen off horses and just got back on. And I've been knocked out and got back on. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
Um,
But don't they say get back on horse straight away?
I
That's
do, but you shouldn't really with a head injury.
right. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
guidance is now that you really shouldn't, but I
No,
did.
I get
That's what I was brought up on. Uh,
that.
and I just went into a spasm, came home, was crying. My partner's not one to jump to conclusions. He said, "Oh, just rest up, you'll be all right." And by the morning, I decided to go back to A&E, and was quite upset by this point because I thought this seems a bit serious. This seems
Yeah.
not right. They kept saying, "Oh, they did an ultrasound of my liver. They couldn't see anything."
Right.
Can you believe how much my body hides stuff? In fact, she said a surprise to us all, Paul. She said, that's one of the best livers I've seen in a long time.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay.
Fabulous, covered in
Yeah.
tumours, but never mind.
So it was covered in tumors,
But she
but they
didn't. She
couldn't see
couldn't
anything
see
on
that.
the.
She didn't see that as on the ultrasound.
Wow.
They
Okay.
said your
Right.
ultrasound's come back fine, but we need to respect your pain because
Yes.
I've been there a lot of times. We need to respect your pain. So I think then they called me back for a CT scan, which I had on the Monday. They wanted me in all day because I think they suspected that I had kidney problems,
Right.
something like that. So I was there all day because they wanted to hydrate me. And then about 7:30 at night, I'd been there all day, just wondering what it was, but you don't know, and you're sort of hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, that sort of thing. And
Yes.
and then a doctor came along, and this was the worst experience really, because a doctor came along and said, we've got the results of your CT scan. And I went, oh, okay, so what is it? And she went, you've got multiple lesions on your spine and on your liver. Now, I'd been doing a lot of Googling, and I thought, well, you can have lesions on your liver and you can have lesions on your spine, and they're not
Yes.
necessarily cancerous. And I said, so what does that mean then? And she just went, well, it's obviously cancer. And I said, oh, okay. So of course I'm not entirely stupid. I thought, well, if it's on 2 spots, that's stage 4 cancer, isn't it?
Yes. Yes.
It's in more than one location. So I said, oh right, so what cancer is it then? And she said, I don't know, I don't have any answers for you, and walked off. And
Wow. Okay.
left me with that. I was being picked up. And there followed 3 months of hell, I would say. From the 5th of December, I got another scan on the 12th of December, 16th of December. Never get ill at Christmas. Just never do it. Just don't do it. Or bank
Is
holiday.
this 2022, Debbie, or
Yeah.
yeah, right.
December the 5th, I'd had the CT. 12th, I had another CT. I then went to the breast clinic because they thought it must be breast cancer. It must be breast cancer.
Right.
So they done, I think they just did a more close-up CT. Can't remember now. And then I went to the breast clinic on the 4th of January. So I'd had an awful Christmas. Absolutely, just wanted to dig a deep hole and hide in it
Yeah.
for as long as I could, and then just
Mm.
it would have been my GP then they were fantastic. They'd let me have anything I wanted in terms of to try and control my anxiety, because my anxiety was through the roof. And
Yeah.
I know I'm not a very anxious person, so I was losing it completely.
Yeah.
I prepared for my death because I thought I possibly had another cancer that was going to kill me. Got married. I prepared, I thought I'd better make an honest man of him because he'll be left in the lurch, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Worcester Registry Office were fabulous. They said,
Right.
book it in for the 18th of January, and if you need to bring it forward, we'll come to your house. They
Right.
could have been, honestly, some people were so magnificent because I was
Yeah.
crying on every phone call I made.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely fraught. So I went to the breast clinic on the 4th. They did a lymph node biopsy to see if nothing there. They did
Right.
another mammogram, nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
Arranged to have MRIs. If this is too much information, tell me to.
No, no, no. This is perfect. You crack on. Yeah.
The breast surgeon said we're still looking for breast cancer, but we can't find anything. There's nothing in the lymph nodes, nothing in the mammogram's clear. You're fine. We'll book a breast MRI and a liver MRI. So I then got a phone call for those. It was going to be the end of January, and I pleaded and cried and cried and cried and said, please, you need to do this beforehand. So I did get it brought forward a bit. So I had a liver MRI and breast MRI. The results of that came back that I had the liver tumours I had 3 on my liver.
Mhm.
Breast MRI completely clear.
It's amazing, this. Yeah. Yeah.
The surgeon was very good. He called me and he said, it's looking increasingly unlikely that it's breast cancer.
Right.
So, and he said, so I think we need to do a liver biopsy now. And so I was thinking, oh my God, what is this? What is this? Because
Yes.
the thing I'd been told by many people, the best thing we can hope for, so this is the best, incurable, is breast cancer, is metastatic breast cancer. It is incurable, but treatable.
Yes.
The other options are not as good. Although I
Mhm.
did do a bit of Googling and thought, well, lymphoma might be an option.
Oh, you went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Google
lymphoma
look
might be
up.
a better thing. I could do, yeah, lymphoma
Ooh.
might be it, but I still didn't get anything. Anyway, I had a liver biopsy. God, I'm such a wuss, and had a liver biopsy. But I will say,
Was it painful?
if you ever have to have a liver biopsy, it's
Yeah.
fine. It was
Okay.
absolutely fine. No sedation, just painkiller.
Yeah.
Honestly, walk in the park. The hardest thing about it was lying flat for 4 hours afterwards. That was the hardest thing.
All right. Okay. Fair
And
enough.
that diagnosed my breast cancer. So that I got rid
So,
of that.
yeah. Okay. So you were diagnosed at this point. What were we in? January or February?
By this point, so the MRIs had been done towards the end of January. I had the liver biopsy about the 31st of January. It took quite a while to get the results. I think we were about the 10th of February.
Right.
And they booked me in for the 17th of February to give me my full diagnosis, to tell me, because of course you need to know what kind of breast cancer it is, because
Yes.
different. So honestly, when in fact, they called me before I had my appointment. Just the MDT nurse called me,
Yeah.
and I was at work. I was in our reception area, and I got the call from her, and she said, "Debbie, it's breast cancer." Do you know, I cried with joy because
Right. The
it was
best
breast
outcome.
cancer,
Yeah.
and all my close work colleagues, I said, "It's breast cancer," and one of them sort of translated, and they went, "It's really good news. This is really good news." And they were a bit sort of confused. Why is breast cancer really good news?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I said, it's really good news because it could be worse, a lot worse. Sorry, I've got a
Yes.
wink eye.
Yes.
I'm not crying because
No, no,
of,
no, you're all
I'm
right.
not,
So it's
I'm not
really
feeling
interesting.
emotional.
There's a number of people that I've found out fairly recently who didn't know. So, okay, how do I put this the best way? They thought cancer was cancer. It
Yeah.
just happened to be in your pancreas, or it happened to be in your breast,
Oh,
or it happened to be in your
wasn't
neck.
different.
It wasn't different. It wasn't until I said to them that so I was asked the question, what cancer did you have? I said mucoepidermoid. They went, no, 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 no. What cancer did you have? Mucoepidermoid. No, no, no. Where was it? I went, oh, you want to know where it was? Right. So, and anyway, so I've had those conversations, and I've also had conversations with people gone, what do you mean? What he died? You know? And I said, mucoepidermoid, what's that? I said, it's one of hundreds of different types of cancer.
It's not
And
one
oh, well, I
disease, is
thought
it?
it was all the same, and it just happened to be different places. No, 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 no. That's not the case at all. So what was is there
I'm just so interested in yours though, because of some of the treatment is similar. It's not all the same, is it?
yes,
The
yes,
suppression of our hormones is similar, and you just think,
yes.
I want to know how that all works.
Well, I'm finding out as we go along. So I had my appointment with the oncologist yesterday. I can reveal whilst talking about this that I've been told I'm winning currently. So my tumours have shrunk just over
Fabulous.
21% so far, yeah, in three
That's
months.
good, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing, Debbie. I had said to you before the biggest release of emotion I've probably ever had in my life yesterday. It was quite incredible. I don't know how my wife kept me standing up, but anyway, and that was happy emotion being released.
I know, and then you think of the alternatives, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, well, I did find out the sort of future ahead. So, like you, I'm on the Solodex pellet, so I have that pellet injected into my stomach every 28 days, and I
How do
have
you
the
find that?
I think lying down is better.
Yeah.
Lying down is definitely
I
much
have it.
better.
Oh, yeah, I did always have it in my stomach. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need it now because you
I
took
don't
other
need it.
measures,
I've
didn't
had
you?
my ovaries out. Fabulous.
Yes, yes. So I have it in my stomach, but so and then I have the daily tablet on top, which I can't remember the name of. It begins with a P and ends with an I, and that's my daily tablet that I take on top of
Yeah,
yeah,
glutamine.
Valcazutamide or something like that. But ultimately, the treatment I'm on, I will be on for no more than 2 years.
Oh,
The average time frame for somebody to stay on this treatment is 9 months. The
right.
longest is 26 months because it stops working.
And what
Um,
happens? Have they got other lines of treatment?
yes, so they've already lined me up for. So that was so the treatment I'm on attacks the androgena marker in my cancer. Androgen, sorry, androgen
Yeah.
a marker in my cancer. The other marker that I've got is HER2, which I think you have as well.
I've got it low. Yeah, HER2+1.
Yeah, so I've just got HER2. I don't know if it's plus one, low, high, medium, no idea.
Mine's
But I'm
low.
already being lined up for an appointment at UCH to talk about a phase one trial actually for
Ooh,
HER2 for my
excellent.
particular cancer. Yeah, and also they've discovered her and she's in talks. Like my oncologist is amazing. She's in
I want
talks with
to hear
people at the
more
moment.
about that
Apparently,
after this. I'd love to hear more about the drug that you're. Yeah.
yeah. So my oncologist is amazing. She's quite young, I would say, compared to most of them that I've met, oncologists and doctors and consultants. On the back of that, she's got this eagerness, she's got this determination, she's got this passion for her role and her job, and I think it helps when it comes to me.
Fabulous.
I think
Yeah.
somebody towards the end of their career, I don't think would be so eager, so determined, and so in touch with everything that's going on in the industry,
Yeah.
and therefore wouldn't work so well for me. Anyway, she's also
Clinical
found out
trials are
about
fabulous. We're urged to get onto clinical trials,
yeah.
early on rather than leave it till the last resort, if you see what I
That's
mean.
right. That's right. So she's also found out that apparently there's certain type of chemo, traditional or IV-based chemo that actually works really well with my cancer. So she's waiting for the stats to come through on that, and then she wants to talk to me about that as well. So additional paths are always being looked at, and I know that um, I know that my options in terms of treatment are few because it's a rare cancer. I don't have many markers in my cancer. However, my oncologist is fantastic, and I think that to have that gives anyone a fighting chance. To be perfectly honest,
Yeah,
so you're
absolutely.
yeah,
There are
so you're on
more.
the solid, huh?
Sorry, yeah. In terms of my diagnosis, if that's helpful, because you've touched
Yes.
upon her too, I'm ER positive. I'm 98% positive, so estrogen positive cancer, which is the vast majority of breast cancers. I've got. I'm not very progesterone. I'm only 2% positive on progesterone positive. Although I'm quite interested in the whole androgen thing.
Hmm.
Because I'd like to ask a lot of questions. I think I need about 3 days with my oncologist. I don't think he wants 3 days with me somehow. Um, and then I'm HER2 low, so I'm plus HER2+1. And that in breast cancer terms, there is a drug called Enhertu, which is why I wondered if they might be trialing that with your cancer.
Right.
It's not sanctioned by NICE yet in England. It's one of my little bugbears. One of the things that gets me up in the morning to be cross about. It's okayed in Scotland, but it's not in England. So there's a lot of campaigning to be done because it works. It's prescribed for people with HER2, higher. So anyone who's +2 or above, I think. I might
Right.
be on that because I'm not a doctor, but HER2 low
Mm.
like me +1, they wouldn't. I wouldn't get it on the NHS.
So I want to interject here because there might be some people listening going, HER2, markers,
And
androgen, what the hell? So this is the way I explain it for anybody that doesn't understand. I said a few minutes ago that there are some people that I know that have just found out through me that there are different types of cancer. Cancer isn't just one type. There are multiple different types with multiple different names that behave in different ways, etc. And each cancer has various personality traits. And that's the way to look at it. So you've got a human being who might be funny, evil, and nasty, or funny, evil, and generous. I don't know. Cancer can have androgen, HER2, NTRK, I think it is, and various other markers that oncologists will look for now, or pathologists or oncologists will look for now, because it's the personality traits of the cancers that they are at the
Yeah.
level of discovering and working out and attacking. And if they can find out as many markers in your cancers as possible, it opens the door for as many treatments as possible because those are the
Yeah.
character traits that they've been targeting. So I hope that explains
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
precisely.
that does,
Yeah.
because in breast cancer there's BRCA1 and BRCA2, and okay, there's loads, but you know, people better than you or me can explain those things. But
Yes.
you've explained it really well, actually.
So tell me then. So you went for your on the 17th. You had your was it of March or something? You had your
17th of
full
February.
your full diagnosis day. And was that the day they also told you what treatment you were going on then?
Yeah, pretty much. They told me that I would start immediately on estrogen suppression, which is letrozole, and then and Zoladex, which is because with women, you've got your ovaries to suppress, but also women produce estrogen in every cell in their body, I think. So the
Mm.
letrozole is to shut down estrogen, you know, wherever it is in my body, and it's in your brain, it's everywhere. It's pretty important hormone, and oh my goodness, I miss it. I miss it so much. Even though, you know, my cancer was feeding on it.
Yes.
And then my Zoladex to shut down my ovaries, because although I'm 62, I wasn't considered necessarily postmenopausal, because I just wasn't. I
Hmm.
just thought I'll just get them out because they've, you know, they've always been a bit problematic, so just get rid of them. So
Yeah.
I had a lovely operation in the summer. I've never had one
Hmm.
before, and it was actually quite nice. It was lovely. So
I've never heard that said before, but okay.
I did want to sleep a bit more than they allowed me in the hospital, but they took me out.
Oh, they keep waking you up, don't they, with silly things, tablets,
They try
injections,
to
and
send
whatever
you
else.
home, and you think, well, but I'm quite happy. Yeah, they put me on that, and then they started me when they were clear about the that I wasn't HER2, because that's a different treatment pathway,
Mm.
um, and that I was just estrogen positive. They started me on CDK4/6 inhibitor, which again targets, I think it's a protein, not sure, that also suppresses the cancer. And the one I'm on, if anybody is interested, it's quite a mouthful. They're all called Ciclib. They all end in Ciclib, Ciclib. I'm on abemaciclib. Other people are on ribociclib and palbociclib. My oncologist explained that he thought abemaciclib would be better for me because of my liver and my bones, because people who get breast cancer, metastatic breast cancer, can get it virtually anywhere. I have
Yes.
lobular breast cancer, which is a bit sneaky. So it's sort of linear rather than forming tumours per
Oh,
se.
right, right. Does that make
So
it harder to detect?
I think that's possibly contributed to the fact that I've got occult breast cancer. Yeah, that it's
Yeah.
difficult to detect because it doesn't form a tumour.
Mm.
You know, not like ductal, because there's ductal and lobular.
Yes, yes,
Um, so you can get it in your bones, your liver, your lungs, your bowel. You can get it in your ovaries, less common. You can also get it in your brain. Can spread to your brain, but I guess most cancers can. I don't know. Um,
yes.
so abemaciclib has worked well. I think letrozole too. I think estrogen suppression is pretty marvelous in terms of it's quite an effective treatment option if you've got if you need to suppress your hormones. And I've I've never really felt ill. Um, I felt a little bit tired, but I think I felt less tired than my partner who hasn't got anything. You know,
Right,
I've
right.
never really been that tired. I'm quite lucky. But as soon as I started treatment, I felt quite well in many ways. Uh,
Hmm.
I've got lots and lots of bone pains and all sorts of other things, but I
Yes,
tend to gloss over them because I do. And my feet hurt like hell, uh,
yes,
but
yes, yes,
yeah, I sometimes hobble, and that annoys me because I don't want to appear old. So I try and up my game a bit and just
do you find when you've woken up in the morning and you get up,
oh, I
your
can't
ankles and feet?
It's
Yeah,
awful.
I'm getting this. Is that the treatment then? I've got
Yeah, I
one like
think
that.
it's
What's the treatment? Right. Okay.
letrozole. I think it is letrozole because I came off of abemaciclib for my operation and I still had the feet thing. Um,
Right.
and yeah, just my bones hurt. I mean, I found it. We're going to buy new sofas because I can't actually get comfortable because everything hurts.
Hmm.
So yeah, feet hurt, legs hurt. But then I am 62, so maybe that's what 62-year-olds feel, and I haven't felt my age until now. I don't know. So
Yeah.
I just try and put it down to that. I don't want to get depressed about it. But in terms of the effectiveness of the drugs, um, pretty much on the first scan, everything had reduced by 50%. Actually,
Incredible.
with letrozole, I had a starter scan after I'd been on letrozole for only a couple of weeks, and my liver tumours had reduced by 50%.
That's just
So,
incredible. How did you feel? What could you believe that was being said to you?
I mean, you don't think after, because I started on the 17th, no, started on the 17th of February with letrozole only, and
Hmm.
had a scan on the 7th of March, and that scan showed it might have been a 40% reduction
Right. It's
in my liver
incredible though.
tumour.
Incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. And as time's gone on, because of course I ask questions a lot, and um, I got to sort of November of that year, last year, and I said, can I expect any more reduction? Because I hadn't had any more reduction since the
Yeah.
initial thing. And oncologist said, no, I don't think so now, but stability's good, keeping it.
Yeah.
Then I had a scan in March of this year. My liver tumours can't be seen.
That is unbelievable. That. And
Doesn't
what
mean
about
that they're
everywhere
not
else?
there, but you know.
What about everywhere else? Is that the same
My
or
bone tumours have resolved.
what does
Um,
that mean? Gone.
means that they're not active and they don't look to be doing anything. There's no spread.
Wow.
The liver tumours he showed me, because I'm a great disbeliever. So if someone says, you know, this has happened, and I go, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Right.
So he has to show me on the scan, and he showed me, and he said, look, if you see there, you can see where the tumour was. Can you see that?
Yes.
I could see clearly what he was saying. He said, but it's not there. And that was,
So is it fair to say then that you're cancer free at the moment?
no, I wouldn't ever say that. I'd never say that.
But you're
I
free
think
of tumors?
I'm free of the stuff they could see.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like we talked about metastatic, it just means it's all over. So I think I'd love to be proven wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. It just means that at the moment they can't see any active cancer at the moment,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think
That's
that's
an
all
amazing
anyone can
place to
say.
be.
But it's a
That's an
good
amazing place to be.
be. The only thing is, I suppose I'm a realist ultimately, fundamentally, and I'm making hay while the sun shines, enjoying that. Um, I don't. I'll never feel invincible again, and so I
Yeah.
think it's like that for now. So it doesn't mean I'll be carefree when I go for my next scan in 3 months' time. I'll be a wreck,
Yeah.
I'm trying not to be. I'm trying to, like I tried to talk to you about it, and I said, oh, almost you're talking to the wrong person. I've tried to reframe it that my scan is just showing what's already happened. It's not
Yeah.
about to happen. I can't stop it happening. It's happened. And
Hmm.
so I've got to try and think like that rather than, and it's waiting for results is awful, isn't it? I
Oh
know
God. Yeah.
my son, who had leukemia when he was nearly 4 years old, and he had had a 70% chance of event-free survival at that
Yeah.
point. And and I used to worry about him constantly that it would
Hmm.
come back. And I worried for 5 years that it would come back. And when it did come back, first of all, I didn't spot it.
1 second, please, Debbie.
That's all right. Look at your nice graphic.
Oh, How typical is that? Anyway, sorry,
Yeah,
carry on.
that's all right. But when it did come back, I first of all didn't recognise it because it came back in a different way. And secondly, I thought I've wasted 5 years worrying about something that I couldn't prevent.
Right.
And with him, it stopped me worrying ever again about, and even though he was in a much worse situation it was in his central nervous system, we then lived life to the full. And I just, I, the only thing that would ever trigger me is if he got more than 2 symptoms of his immune system being a bit weak. I always used to think he has to have at least 2 symptoms and maybe 3 for me to get worried. And he never did as a child.
Did he have IV chemo to fix it?
Yeah, he had, I think, what's called the red devil now, epirubicin, donavirubicin. Yeah, he had cytarabine. I can't remember them. He had loads of different.
Yeah. Again, I
Anyway,
mean, kids are so resilient, aren't they? They show us how to do it, don't they?
pretty heavy guns. I mean, he was ill, really, and
Yeah.
we nearly lost him through chemo. When he was on sort of a very mixed protocol because they didn't really have a protocol at that point for central nervous system leukemia, and it was rigorous and it was very frequent chemo,
Right.
really frequent, and he went very downhill, and so we stopped. They said, oh, he was due 2 more rounds, and we got to the point with the doctors and we said, and it was actually 1999, when we were going to the year 2000,
Yes.
we said, can we stop? Would it make any difference? And they said, well, we have no idea whether it will affect the outcome. We don't think it will. We have
Right.
no evidence. So we stopped because we were thinking we were running the risk of losing him too.
Yes.
So, and he's
Wow.
been good so far. So that's good.
And then he's now 35, right?
He's now 35, yeah.
Incredible. So another survivor story. That's quite something. They do show us how to do it, the kids.
Oh,
They
he had a very, it's probably, this podcast isn't about him, but he had a very good view of what was important. We don't believe in God, and we've never
Mhm,
brought him up to believe in God.
mhm,
He's an atheist, and
mhm.
he would ask quite a lot of questions about death, and he'd say, Mummy, could I die? And I'd always said I wouldn't lie to him. So I said, yeah, you could die. And he
Wow.
said,
Okay.
what will happen to me if I die? I said, well, you'll become part of the trees, and that lovely tree in Brockwell Park that we go visit, you'll become part of that. Your atoms won't ever disappear. And I used to say to him things like, because there were lots of experimental treatments at the time, and maybe I need to take a leaf out of his book, because he said, um, there was a child B. I don't know, you probably don't remember because you're too young, but there was child B who was going to the States for some experimental treatment. And I said, oh, Callum, would you do that? Would you do experimental treatment for all that pain? And he said, Mummy, of course I would, because it's all we've got. We have to. If there's a little, even if there's just a 1% chance of life, we've got to do it. And I thought,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Well.
I knew from him what he would want to do if we got to a point where, should we just throw everything at it? He was quite happy, and he knew what it meant because he'd had a lot of nastiness with chemotherapy.
Yes. Throwing everything at it. God, I've had that phrase
Have
said to
you?
me. Yeah, I've had that
Have
said
you
a
had
few
it
times
thrown at
recently.
you?
I think age, sort of health status generally, apart from the cancer, are all factors. But if you are generally young enough, strong enough,
Yeah.
and healthy enough, they will throw everything at you. That's a
I
phrase
think
that's
I'd
come
take
up.
a view at my age, if because it just becomes harder, doesn't it? I'm not sure I would follow exactly in his footsteps, but that was how he felt at the time as an
Yeah, incredible,
8-year-old boy.
amazing. So here we are, Debbie. You're in what cycle are you in now? So you are your cancer stabilized, I think is fair to say.
Yeah, that's a good
Um,
level. Yeah.
yeah. However, it is with you with for life. It is metastatic. Like myself, it is set free, so it can return someplace, somewhere, at some time, I guess.
Yeah.
What cycle are you in now then? Is it every 3 months and PET scans or?
I take tablets every day, as you will.
Yeah,
I am on cycle 20 of abemaciclib.
yeah,
Letrozole, has just been going since February 23. I do have bone strengthening injections they're now down to every 2 months, and I have every CT scans every 3 months, because I've got lobular. I think CT is possibly the best scan. If we had
right.
PS PET scans in this country, and I haven't found one yet, I'd have one of those. I'd go and pay for one, but I don't. I think only maybe Bath Royal United Hospital does it, but I think that would be better for me. But I think the next best thing is CT or MRI.
And what do you do for a living, Debbie? And how have your work been with you throughout this journey?
I'm a business development manager.
Yeah.
I work for. I changed jobs as well. I probably caused my cancer by all this stress. I just changed jobs. I was only 6 months in post. I business development manager. I work for a housing association, rather big
Mhm.
one,
Yeah.
and I basically negotiate money and stuff like that. And I have worked full time throughout. During that time of awaiting my diagnosis, Paul, I can't believe I'm telling you this, but I worked every single day, apart from having a day off to have my liver biopsy.
Wow, that's
And
something else.
and
Wow.
I don't know why I did that. I don't know how I did that. I look back on work I did at that time. There was something like some of my stuff has to be documented and evidenced, and I looked back at some of the emails I sent in December, about December the 18th, thinking, oh, I hope I covered that off. And I looked at it and it's quite a coherent email. It makes complete sense. And I think, God, I was going through so much at that point. I was crying
Yeah.
every day. I was sitting, I couldn't sit properly. I was propped up in bed because my back hurt so much.
Yes.
It hurt so much and my legs hurt. So the only place that was comfortable was to sit up in bed with lots of cushions around me, with my laptop on my lap. And just do that. I just don't, but maybe it just kept me going. And
Yes.
I got to a point just in the middle of this year I just got tired and I
Mm.
had 2 weeks off sick. First 2 weeks in that job. First sickness, just because I just felt really tired.
Yes.
And the best thing I did because I'm rejuvenated now.
Mm.
So
Yeah, you're quite something, Debbie. I think
not
you
really.
ask yourself how you did that and why you did that. I think I found out for myself yesterday about myself that we all deal with things in our own way, but sometimes just marching on in some kind of blind ignorance. We know it's going on, but it's just keep looking ahead. For myself, it was just keep looking straight in front of me. Almost don't look left, don't look right.
Yeah.
I'm talking literally during each day. Only look in front of me and look at what I've got in front of me to deal with, and then we do what we have to do
How did
to
you
get
how
through.
did you deal with it though? Because you had a very quite. It sounds to me like you had a really high flying job, and at least had
Um,
home, and
yeah,
I
well,
can do that.
my career is no longer in what I was
Yeah.
doing. I can't do it. Simple as that. I work for myself now, so I've got various things that I do here. The Raw is one of them. I do guest speaking. I work with pharmaceutical companies. I do, I'm writing a book that's all to come out, or I'm writing a chapter in a book for somebody else actually
Okay. No,
that'll
jolly
come
good.
out
I'll need
shortly.
to read it.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm working in the cancer world, so I'm developing a website that's going to provide various services to people in the cancer world and products. And ultimately, I've had to retrain. There's no two ways about it. I've had to retrain, but thankfully, I knew that. I felt I worked it out eventually, and I realised that the opportunity I'd had from doing some guest speaking and doing various things in the cancer world, maybe I found my forte. I really enjoy it. And
Oh,
I'm
this
going to
is
make,
really good. Yeah.
I'm going to make something out of that. And that's what I've done, to be honest. I've retrained, is what I've had to
Yeah.
do.
And I
So,
think, I sort of have thoughts at sometimes, and I think, oh, will I really? be happy that I continued working when I knew that I could potentially die. But we could all say that a little bit, couldn't we? And, I'm hoping to be here for a long time, hoping,
Yes.
don't know. And I hate people who say this to me. So don't say it back to me. But people who say, oh, but, we all might die. And I think, yeah, it's just I've got this sword of Damocles just dangling above
Yeah,
my
except your mortality, whoever's saying that to you, that isn't really hung in front of your face every day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And you have to
that's
contemplate it every day, don't you?
yes, and that's what I say to people. They say, I've had that said to me, but no one knows when they're going to die. I've said, you know what, you're right. And to be honest, let's say I'm talking to someone called Fred. You're right, Fred. You might die tomorrow. You might die before me. The difference is you don't discuss, consider, look at, and stare your own mortality in the face every single day,
It will
because
come out
it
of the
is.
blue.
Yeah, you can live in lovely, happy ignorance. And that is the difference, and it's quite intense, isn't it?
And there are some good things about it. I mean,
Yes.
I do look for the good. There are some really horrible things about it. And if I had different circumstances, some of it would be much worse and some of it would be better. But
Yes.
there's some really good things about it because I think now, um, with things that I do, I think, well, do I really want to do that? And if I don't want to do it, I just say, I don't want to do that.
Correct.
And I don't have to.
No.
No one can make me because I'm an adult now.
And I've got cancer, and you can't tell me what to do. So no,
Yeah.
no, no, no.
I mean, it's only just occurred to me with eating food that I don't have to clear my plate away. So I think I'm an adult now. I can eat that if I don't want to eat it.
Debbie, can I just say thank you so much for what has been an amazing chat. It really has. Look, I'm grateful to you on a personal note. Obviously, we'll carry on talking
Yeah, we will.
forever
Yeah.
onwards. Yeah, you've been incredible. What a true inspiration. This or inspirational
I'm not
interview.
really,
This
but what I would like to say is I'm just one person with my own experiences, and I can be a bit weird. So, please don't take this that every woman with metastatic breast cancer is the same as me because we're really not.
is as lovely as you. Let's leave it at that. All right. So,
Oh,
look, yeah, everyone has their isms. It's all good. And I think if I'm honest, Dev, you've done a phenomenal job at really normalizing what can be quite a crazy situation. It can happen to anybody. I think what I want to end here on is look how Debbie and I found each other. I did some work, or to carry on doing, continue to do some work with Radiotherapy UK, RT UK.
yeah, they're
They
great,
kept
aren't they?
they're amazing. They keep in touch with me, see how I was doing. They asked me, is there anything we can do for you? And me being me, I said, actually, I'm looking for a mentor. And they said, oh, right, what do you want? And I defined exactly what I wanted, and up popped Devi. So, if you go out and ask what you need, go, if you don't know what you need, just go and ask for it. It
Yeah,
comes your way. There's a network out there. I'm always reachable. If anyone needs support. Well, look, Debbie, thank you for a really fantastic
yeah,
chat.
it's
Thank you
been
so much.
great. Thank you, and well, I've got loads of questions for you now, but I'll ask those later.
All right, no worries. You can always do a part two, or you can call me later.
Yeah, all
Um,
right
so,
then.
all right, thank you, Debbie. So
All
that was
right.
Hear the Raw. I am Paul Schneider. As I said, this is available. You can always find us on socials on here.the.raw on Instagram, here_the_raw on TikTok. Website soon to come, and also available. The podcast is on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, and all of the major platforms. Debbie, again, thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Cheers.
Bye.
Debbie, that was fantastic.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna call you. Okay, I'm gonna call you.
Yeah. All right. See you later.
All right.
Bye.